Yes.
Okay, and just for the public who's watching, we are moving into executive session to discuss legal matters. Well, first, we're going to start off by discussing matters leading to the employment or hiring of a particular person or entity, discuss information relating to current or future criminal investigations, and discuss capital litigation.
And we'll be back at 7. Hello. I move that we exit executive session and we start our public meeting.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, then let's start by saluting the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Emergency exits, although I know all of you have been here before, are the door you came in and this door over here. And roll call, Dawn.
Mr. Reginald Blackman?
Yeah, I'm here.
Councilmembers Redler?
Here.
Ham? Here. Boehner? Here.
Okay. I want to approve the agenda. Has everyone seen it? And if so, I'll make a motion to approve.
With the striking of, so there is an amendment.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We are striking a few things. The presentation was put off, so that's not going to happen tonight, about the enforcement services for parking. The charcoal kilns update and the EV station update are really not significant enough to raise. And we're also adding an item that Rosanna and Nicole are going to speak about that is rec related under discussion items. So let's see, agenda. Oh, public comment. Do we? Yes, what?
You're making a motion to go ahead and accept the agenda, striking those 3 items. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brad. All in favor?
Aye. Good that you caught that, Rosanna. Public comment. Does anyone have anything to say to us or ask us this evening? God, Judy's not here. I thought we
I
had
know.
to
I think she's Charlie Miller. So it's actually about the Amenia Housing Board. I just wanted to bring it up. We're discussing proposing 3 different tax exemptions for the board to discuss and then hopefully pass a local law. So at our next meeting, we will discuss those and pass that along. And so these are all tax exemptions that the state has allowed, but we just haven't implemented in Amenia. One is for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. There is up to a 20% tax exemption for those individuals.
Are we talking about a tax exemption that relates to housing? I thought this was AD.
No, these are tax exemptions that relate to your real estate taxes, which are an affordability factor
Okay.
for people living in Amenia. So there are 3 categories that we would be recommending. One is for volunteer firemen and fire people and ambulance workers. The other is for the addition of an ADU. And then the third is an addition of an ADU for a parent or a grandparent. The ADU exemption is up to $80,000 of the capital cost of adding an ADU. And that is over 8 years, and it ticks down 12.5% until it rolls off. So you build an ADU, you get a tax exemption of up to $80,000 of your assessed value off. And then for the ADUs for the parents or grandparents, the max value is higher. It's 20% of the total value, the assessed value, and then there's a couple of other things that get added to that. But
So Charlie, I thought we had the exemptions for the firefighters and the ambulance.
we don't.
Because I know we've discussed this in meetings.
Yeah.
And I thought they were into
So
effect.
the local law was never done for it.
No, I guess people have discussed it, and I've to help Ian out. I drafted the local law for that based off of a couple of other communities. I'm sure there's a lot of mistakes, but it'll at least be a starting point. But we do not have, we only have an exemption for service members, and there is actually a low-income housing assessed value tax credit for seniors that I would hope people could take advantage of if you're not aware that exists. But those are really the only two we have.
I think the senior one is the one that was most recently done, the previous board.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
you.
Unless, Vicki, do you have a comment?
Yes, I could. Hi, Vicki Doyle, 20 South Amenia Road, Wassaic, New York. I wanted to announce that we have settled on a date that I brought up before for our Arbor Day tree planting in Amenia. It will be Friday at 5:30 on April 25th. And Marianne Pitts is a volunteer who helps with both the Enhancement Committee and the Conservation Advisory Council. She is going to be organizing a planting of a new tree where there is a dead tree at the entrance to the rail trail. That's 37 Furnace Bank Road, right next to the Metro North
Thanks.
train tracks and Maxim Mills, and so it's right there at the beginning. And if you all can make it there, that would be great. It'll be a native tree. Are there any questions about that and I can answer? 5:30, the 25th.
You have someone speaking the whole?
Yes.
Okay,
And
just
she'll
check.
be looking at all the soils and making sure it's an appropriate tree, native tree for that site.
Very exciting.
And then I also wanted to mention that the following day is cleanup day, or Earth Day in Amenia, and that'll be Saturday, April 26th, from 9 a.m. to noon, something that we've done for a long time. And you can volunteer by meeting at either the Bank of Millbrook or Fountain Square in Amenia, at the main intersection in town, and pick up bags and reflective vests and fan out and pick up litter on the roadsides and on the rail trail, or even in your neighborhood. And if you find big items, you could text or call me, and we can come by and pick those up on the town roads. If you're on the state highways, there's an adopted highway program, so those will be orange bags, and those are also available at Fountain Square. They'll be sitting on the bench, and you can sign in, and you'll have my phone there. There's also going to be a location, the same setup down in Wassaic at Gordon Park, where the little picnic benches are opposite Maxim Mills. So right on Furnace Bank Road and the Hamlet Center, you'll find bags, you'll find reflective vests, and you'll be able to bring your large item, your filled bags, or call me, and also invite you to a trailer. That's sponsored by the Conservation Advisory Council as well. We're going to have a very busy weekend. And then at 2 o'clock that same day, if you still have energy, there will be at the library a lecture by a naturalist from Sharon Audubon who's going to talk to us about how we can plant plants that are appropriate in your garden that will feed the birds throughout the winter. Less stress on your bird feeders and more of the natural plantings that will help take care of them through the winter. There will also be other people available from local organizations that will talk about the impact they're having and the help they're having to civic leaders and organizations like Conservation Advisory Council to protect our natural resources.
And,
Can I ask a question?
yes, sure.
So, we've had a kind of complaint about areas, specific areas in town. I don't know if you're aware. One of them is near the area between, the synagogue and, Dollar General. Apparently there's a lot of garbage.
Oh, that's typical.
Into that. And also, and I don't know if this is appropriate to what you're doing, but also I noticed that there's a lot, in the, Cumberland.
Cumberland is a magnet. Mechanic Street is a magnet for some reason. The trash gets caught in the thickets and the brambles and the swooshes them around, so it's absolutely one of the top priorities. I know the New Democratic Committee has Dollar General to Sharon Town Line. Last year, they spent many Sundays, like 4 Sundays in March and April, picking up the trash. They took loads out along that stretch. I don't know why, and now I've heard that there are tires that are now down by the Sharon Town Line that we're gonna have to figure out. But if you know there's a couch sitting by the road that you pass every day, let me know, because we'll have 3 or 4 volunteers, and we have gotten couches off of the road, and it's, Welsh Sanitation is gonna take whatever we do collect that day off the roadsides, and they're gonna take it in for free. So they are cooperating as they have in the past to make this as efficient and easy. I also want to say that for the Arbor Day tree planting, if I didn't say it before, the garden club is paying for the tree. So thanks to those organizations.
Can I just tag on something? You can go up to the podium. The Amenia Historical Society has been working to get a plaque, a sign for the old Amenia Cemetery, which they've apparently gotten our highway crew to help them install. And there's going to be a dedication ceremony at the cemetery at 2 o'clock, same time as the lecture, but you know, people can move back and forth presumably at the cemetery, which is my gallery, right?
What am I gonna do? I wanna go to both.
Well, I don't know. You'll have to send someone in your stead in one of them, I guess. But anyway, you go ahead.
That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, really?
There's a conflict on the 26th at 2 p.m. The dedication of the historical marker, which is up. Thank you.
Yeah. It was the highway crew.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will see if we can move ours to 2:30 or something. I don't know if that would help at all, 2:30 or 3.
Yeah, how long can the sign? 2:30 would probably do it.
2:30, that'd be really well.
Yeah, we could just move it, just.
That would
She
be
gave us
nice.
some flyer opening it up, so.
Good.
Your flyer's not done
And
yet.
I think-
We're not moving cleanup day, that one's done.
and I think they're also going to be veterans of the Revolutionary War, if I remember correctly. Your report? Oh, no, my report first. Okay. Let's see. Highway garage is still on schedule. We reviewed the electrical parts of it last week and materials tomorrow morning. The water district, we've been applying to all our elected officials for grants to help fund that project, and you know, they may decide to fund something else, but that's what we're asking for. The sidewalk to Beekman, we hired Southern, I can't remember what their tag is, Southern Corporation. They were the low bidder by a lot, and hopefully they'll start within a few weeks. I left a message, but I haven't gotten word back yet. Regarding the Civic Center, one of the missing files that went from microfishing for 5 years was actually pulled by someone from the governor's office for us, which was very nice. And so the enhancement committee is preparing to meet and restart that project. Ian is the next steps for completing the ancestry search that will allow us to determine if any of the surviving members of the family are still alive. And if not, we have to go through a procedure to make it the bizarre little space ours.
Yeah, so the state will extend survey quote was able to give us a document similar to kind of an affidavit of heirship, which kind of opens the trail path for us again. There are a number of different individuals there. This dates back to 1980. Individuals are all dead. So at least we can request and make us so we needed. If we get those files, then we'll be able to do our search and hopefully be able to resolve this sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm just gonna need file numbers for those to pass on, so. For the files that you're looking for.
They predate most of the electronic filing, so I don't even have, I can't really get to those.
Okay, well,
Let's work on
yes,
this.
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. Fountain Square, we received an estimate of $48,500 for electric and paving. The bank is paying for replanting and a sprinkler system, but there is electrical work that needs to be done and paving repairs at least. So that number was for replacing the bricks, a lot of which are broken up with concrete, so that's all has to be figured out. But we at least have an estimate now, so we can figure out what we could do to get that work out. The Mark Morrison, who's a landscape designer, is going to present his 2004 streetscape plan, which he did pro bono, which still seems relevant, so he's going to present that at our next meeting, which I said was on the 17th, but it's actually going to be on the 16th now, because we have 2 members who can't make it, and we need a quorum, or we'd like to have a quorum, otherwise we're just, spinning. The graphic designer we're hoping that he'll be able to present 3 designs at the next meeting. I'm not sure about that, but I'm certainly hoping so. He was ill, so he's sort of behind schedule. The boardroom, I'm hoping that we can install the new AV system in this space before the end of the summer. We will hopefully tonight be voting to go ahead with our consultant who did the system at Dover and the equipment. The interior painting, which we bid out, we're expecting Jaybird Painting to begin in a few weeks, probably 2 weeks, to do a bunch of repairs where paint is peeling and walls are cracked. The website, the town web designers, I think are getting pretty close to being able to present the website to us. Charlie, am I correct about that?
Yes.
Yeah. And if not the next meeting, maybe by May 1st. And the LED sign, we expect to open bids and select fabricators at the next meeting, which is the 16th. So I'm hoping that they come in within a day, but they don't come in on the 17th. I don't remember what the due date was.
Next week.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, that's it for the supervisor's report.
Okay, great. Just so the public knows, the previous meeting minutes are circulated in the board packets this evening. And for our tax collection report, everybody knows of the 2031 parcels, 1,897 have paid in full, which equals the total collection amount of $7,784,126.65, collected in penalties to the state, $7,843.38, with the remaining uncollected at this time, $1,224,174.22. And I'm also notifying the board and the public, for those that are curious, that I am in receipt of a petition regarding the opt-in, repealing our cannabis law and opting in. So I'm in the process of certifying that, and I'll have the report for our next meeting. And that will conclude the topic report.
Okay. So we have discussion items. I wanted to start with Rosanna and Nicole about,
Did Rec have a report? I know you weren't on there, but I didn't know if you had anything.
Well, yeah,
If you want to do it.
Okay, we typically do it once a month rather than every other, but we could certainly, you've been busy, okay, well then you go ahead.
It's, yeah, I just like to make sure everyone knows we're starting swim this Sunday. We have worked out the schedule. We hopefully are hiring lifeguards tonight. So we will be starting swimming on Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays. The flyer is on the homepage on the town website. So looking forward to that. We've gotten pretty decent response so far, so that's exciting. Also, last month, I did want to, I neglected to thank Saddle Ridge for the ice skating program, which even though we only got to do it twice, it was very popular, and we're hopeful that this coming year we can get started a little earlier, and just want to say thank you to you, because that was a very good thing. Other than that, I'll go back to your...
That has been a long time in coming, the community swim and the senior swim, so it's great that got figured out. And while we're in that part of the meeting, do you want to talk about the drug drop-off box, Rosanna?
Yes, I got some good news. I got a letter from Andrea at Cape, and she says, great news, the Northern Dutchess Community Coalition will be able to fund and provide a drug drop box for the town hall. I'll be working on the logistics regarding the placement of the box and the pickup for the medications, and I'll share more details with you as soon as possible. So it looks like it may be happening,
Okay,
all right?
that's great. Better than all right.
And actually, I would like to thank Andrea Elson for putting me in contact with Andrea. She really moved forward on it. Andrea was great.
Great, thank you. I wanted to talk about, I distributed to the board a draft letter about parking on Main Street, since a lot of people have complained about that. And I wanted to see if people had comments on that. Brad, I think you had a different approach.
Well, yeah, a lot of years ago, there was the Milton General Congress, and we did exactly what you're proposing, and everybody was very pleased at the meeting. We discussed things as employees not parking in front of the shops and et cetera, and even talked about where they can park and things like that. And lo and behold, nobody did it. So I think it's noble to send a letter out, but I really don't think it's going to accomplish in a parking problem. I think I do have a plan to accomplish a parking problem. We discussed that a while ago, and I'm ready to present that when the board wants to hear it.
Okay, we can listen to it now unless you're ready.
Okay, so what's going on in the section where Isabella's is now, and Cumberland Farms, and General Dollar, and the rail trail? Obviously, there's a lot of activity there. We discussed tonight EV parking at some point, and there's potentially going to be less parking spaces for the rail trail. Quite a few, actually. So, for a long time, it's been kicked back and forth about the basketball courts, for example, becoming parking. A lot of people are against it for various reasons. But this is today, it's not yesterday. So we have a problem. We've talked about this again and again, several meetings, Main Street. We've talked about Amenia Green. Do this, don't do that. This is too expensive, we can't do that. We've talked about with the rec and putting a pavilion down there. That is very limited parking.
I'm sorry, we're,
Beacon
oh,
Park,
Beacon, okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
for example. Any professional planner that have been to our boards have talked about, many times, about how our growth starts from the center out. Many years ago, for $1, we were offered this building, which has now become a centerpiece of our community. We have places we can offer a kitchen maybe coming up, right? Community kitchen, we can provide services. We have offices galore, we can bring in community services to this building. There's so many things that we have right here that I don't think are being utilized well enough. Getting back to the green, it would make sense with the advice from the rec committee to make that current basketball court parking, and then put the basketball court where the rec committee recommends it should go. If they want to keep it in the center of town, fine, we'll have to find the ground for it. Regarding the pavilion, it could be in the green area. If the rec commission thinks it shouldn't be, which I think is a mistake, because this is all about parking and access to parking, which the majority of it is right there. So that's more or less some things I really want to get working on, and especially for the mean green. I'd like to finish something that we started. I went back looking through all the emails, all the meetings, all the time, all the money, and we're going to stop it. I mean, why are we here? What, I don't get it. I think this is something that we really should circle back on and focus on in conjunction with the commission's advice and can help on this, and also, with Beacon Park project, of course.
The rec commission, I believe, is discussing that at your next meeting, which is next week. Okay, so they're going to be discussing exactly that, and we'll find out what their thoughts are.
Could I also just mention, we talked about, just Brad was one that mentioned, Leo and I kind of talked about the basketball court, and I was honestly very much against it, when they was first presented, I wanted to be so much against it, from a historical perspective, from a lot of perspectives. But now we're looking at it, and I agree that there is a need, but, I think that there needs to be a really careful study, because I was told, when I asked about it, and I forgot who told me, that there needs to be an entrance and an exit, right? So we have another entrance coming on there by Dollar General, we have Dollar General, Cumberland Farms, Mechanic Street, and then to add another thing coming out on. So I guess my question is, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, I think that we just need to do a careful study on how many parking spots it would actually add, and, and it will, when you do that, have the entrance and exit, you're also taking away parking spaces from the sidewalk side, along the road. So I just think that, whoever does it, whether it's the rec commission in their, Amenia Green, or, the town board, or whoever looks into this, I just hope they carefully look into, all of those aspects, and maybe get somebody to come and talk to us.
Well, the DOT is going to have to be part of it.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't do any, they don't actually help in terms of design work.
Design work.
They just throw up
Yeah,
roadblocks, is
yeah.
my experience.
Well,
I think it's
it can be
easy enough to, I think it's easy enough to figure out how many parking spaces. We can get there, we can ask our town engineer
Yeah.
to look at that
Yeah.
and kind of bring us something.
I was walking on it the other day, and it is not a small number.
Not a small number of parking spaces. Yeah, it's a much bigger space. I mean, I was sort of surprised when the summer concerts were there. There's a lot of room. It's a much bigger area than I thought it was, so.
But with what Roseanne is saying, you lose space when you have to be able to have a driving path of an entrance and an exit. And I'm not sure how much deeper we can go with that field being flooded all the
I
time.
think
So
we
it's-
can.
You think you can?
I don't think we can. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that we
why
sort of
I-
have to stick to what's there because it
And
exists.
we looked at this before we did the Indian Green concept, because originally we were like, let's do parking, and there was a few people that spoke up and said, no, keep the courts. So we're like, okay, we'll expand, quite a few people, yeah. So we figured, okay, we'll expand the lower parking lot out then.
Mhm.
So that's why we decided to keep the basketball. And I will say, every time I go by there, there's somebody on there.
Yeah.
And Josh Simpson did for a while, and I'd like to actually revisit that, do a better skate part
Mhm.
on it.
Right,
because
but I
that
think that
seems
could be,
to
I mean, I think both of those things could be elsewhere. I mean, I would really like, and I said this before, that I mean, the rec commission is going to be discussing this, but I really think the smart thing to do at this point is not keep throwing money, good money after bad, but to actually focus on Beekman Park, which got ignored in the master plan, and where we could have built all the things that we've been talking about in the master plan by now if we had not ignored that at the beginning of this process. So I would be much happier if the money gets transferred to adding some of those things at Beekman Park and fixing the parking, because that was in the 2006 plan.
I don't know how much more you can really put in there, though, as far as, when you talk about that, all that ground is basically was put in here in wetland, for example.
Oh, can't be expanded, I know. No, I mean, that's the thing, but I have to believe that there's room between the edges of the basketball, I mean, the baseball fields and the entry space and the houses on Broadway, that there's probably room to fit in some of the things we've talked about, like a dog run, like a decent skateboard park, certainly basketball. I think it just needs to be looked at, no one's looked at it, so.
And that parking needs
I
to be
look
addressed.
forward.
I'm sorry?
And that parking needs to be
Yeah.
addressed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but again, that was in the 2006 plan had 100 parking spaces there, and it was even paved. So, I mean, stuff like that I think is relatively easy to do, and it's on land we own, so anyway, I'd be curious to see
The
what
only thing
Brad
is,
has to say.
and that's great, the other thing is, that we've talked about a lot about for a long time, is the whole concept of the walkability of Amenia.
Mm-hmm.
and in the center of town, and that is, again, depending on how much you do, that will take that away.
Well, I mean, we are spending a lot of money right now to do a sidewalk to Beekman Park, which is going to be installed this summer. If that's too far for kids to walk or parents to drive, it's a little tragic.
Right.
I mean, the point is to expand the walkable part of Amenia, and that would do so.
You're not going to get that bakery down there, I don't think.
That's the parking
Yes.
last letter.
Yes?
Are we okay, you need us to okay that, to send it out?
Well, Rosanna had some suggestions,
I did have some questions.
and I don't know, Brad, if you just want me to like not do that.
No, I want to talk about it.
Okay.
But I thought I could share, my experience, and, saying that, if you feel you really need to do it, I just haven't been there, and knowing some of the people, where are they gonna go? I mean, if you have housing there, the people have to park, and some of the shops, the people have to park, I mean, where?
Was there two letters? Was it one to business
It
owners?
was one of the
and
business owners
Yeah.
and people who own the buildings, it would be both.
So that's my question too, what's the option?
What's the parking option?
Yeah,
For them?
Well, there's not a lot of choice. I mean, people who have businesses downtown can certainly park in the town hall lot. I walk over to get sandwiches from Peggy's on a regular basis. It doesn't take me more than 3 or 4 minutes to get there from the parking lot, actually less than that. And so I think business owners, if they're going to be there for the whole day, it seems to me it would be to their advantage to actually leave spaces in front of the building.
I think
And
we
move
would
it
all
along.
do it too, but I was trying to share my experience.
No, it's great. It's just that we, no, we found out that, that it's expensive. We have to hire a person to do ticketing. The constables are not really at the time that people will be parking down there. And we need the device to ticket. I mean, we could start off with a pad, but, it's just an issue of like figuring that out too.
I think we can start somewhere, start with the letters. I think,
And
do we contact DOT to do this? Because we need to talk about getting the.
the signage in front of the post office, we've talked about,
Change
yeah.
to 30, so how do we get that going?
Well, I just was speaking to Megan actually about signage to try to address, Mechanic Street. We'd have to get DOT to approve a plan, but they seemed like they didn't have a lot of issues with the town changing parking signs, or
Did
changing
you
the
reach
time.
out to DOT? Because I think we talked about this last meeting, reaching out to DOT to change from 2 hour, 1 hour to like 30.
Yeah, that was, I spoke to them about that, and they said that parking time was not something that they really worry about on state roads.
We're worried about it.
Wait, I'm sorry, are you saying reached out to the business owners?
No, to DOT to get the time changed, because right now it says like 1 or 2 hour parking.
Right, I understand that, I'm just saying that they would probably need to approve what we propose, but I'm not sure whether they actually provide the signs, or they would expect us to do that in light of what they expect us to do on the sidewalk. That's why I'm a little down on DOT at the moment.
Okay.
But I will find that out now that we certainly know we want to change that, and that could actually be part of the letter to the business owners too.
And we do have another serious issue on Mechanic Street too that we're addressing, you had a conversation with Megan about that.
Yeah, we're allowed to, we don't have signs on that street, but it's a town road, so we're entitled to do that. Megan gave me a price for signs. I just would first like to know how that suddenly came about, because it hasn't been that way for terribly long, right? Yeah, it hasn't been like 6 months or a year. So it seems odd to me, and there must be an explanation.
Oh, the restaurant over
But it's during the day, isn't it? Is there,
there. I mainly see it in the evening.
well, the pictures that were sent to me were all daytime pictures, that's why.
Oh, on Mechanic? Oh, okay, then I don't know what that's specifically about, but I just noticed that Mechanic and, from, the post office all the way down in the evening since they've been open, which is great, but yeah, we gotta figure it out.
Yeah, because we've talked about parking for a long time, we didn't figure it out.
These are cars parked on Mechanic Street, like above, past Monty's or Isabel's.
Yeah,
And you're parked on the road, so it kind of narrows the road to
yeah, so like one lane.
one lane.
Yeah.
And there was concern, I think, on the part of the fire company and neighbors of that area not being able to see coming out of their driveways. So it's just something that has to be addressed. But to get back to the letter, to do the presentation, suggested that it would be nice to send out a letter, first, that should be, everybody's done a lot of these, a lot of towns, a lot of parking situations. And he said, we should definitely send a letter, and then see how that goes. And I just think that we need to adjust the letter.
Yeah, and I think that the next step after the letter is changing the signs. I mean, certainly in front of the post office, and I guess I can ask business owners about that, because it seems to me that the turnover is kind of important to them too. So, I guess that's my marching orders, huh? I'll circulate it to you all just so you see it before it goes out. Okay. Okay, what else have we got on our discussion? We sent out the letters for terminating the website hosting services that for the current website, because Dutchess County set that up for us, and presumably the new website, we would have a different company doing that. So we want to terminate their hosting services on the 30th of June, which is half the year. We have to pay, and we're billed like for each half of the year. So if we go beyond, we need to give them notice, and if we wait longer than that, we're gonna have to pay for the second half. Did I get that right, Charlie?
I'm just thinking, ours will be up and running before.
Oh, we certainly had better be, but yeah, I think they're pretty close to showing it to us. And then, it's gonna probably take a week or two to sort of work out whatever bugs there might be, but.
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
Motion to terminate that contract?
Oh, I make a motion that we terminate that contract.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll also make a motion for the second one, which is, we need a letter to decline the BIL LSL funding award. That is the infrastructure money. We were awarded a certain amount to work on our lead service line inventory. Unfortunately, our previous water operator didn't get very far with that. So we have to return the money that we weren't able to spend on him. Our new water operators did send in a first version of that, and they're waiting for instruction from the state. So, but we couldn't spend that money before the end of last year. So it's just basically a document returning that money, which I think could be used for that until that service line.
so you make the motion.
He did.
Oh, I'll make a motion. I'm sorry.
I'll second. Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay. Okay, let's see. Then we have 4 resolutions that we're doing by consent agenda. The first is transfer of funds. The second is to authorize purchase and installation of playground equipment for Beacon Park. The third is to authorize the installation of water meters at Town Hall and Beacon Park, which we talked about last time, so that all the citizens are paying for the park and for Town Hall, since they all use it rather than just people in the water district. And that was part of the map plan report. And the fourth thing is to authorize Cambodia Media to proceed with the AV system based on the contract we have from them. So I would move,
make that motion.
what?
Are you making it?
Yes.
You're leading into it?
Thank you.
All right, Nicole, so you're moving to accept resolutions number 46, transfer of funds, 47, authorizing the purchase and installation of playground equipment for Beacon Park, resolution number 48, authorizing the installation of water meters at Town Hall and Beacon Park, resolution number 49, authorizing Cambodia Media to contract with the Town Board for an AV system.
I'll second.
Thank you, Brad. Is there any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, here we go.
Oh, don't say no.
You say no? Is this the
You don't say
consent?
no, then no. Okay.
Yeah. Silent. It records as a nay. You can't, it's not.
All right, and then we have one resolution that's a non-consent agenda, which is number 50, which is about authorizing, which authorizes the hiring of part-time seasonal lifeguards. Somebody tell us who gave me that.
to read that?
You want to read that?
All right, I will read that. So resolution number 50, you said?
Yes.
50.
Hiring seasonal part-time town lifeguards. Whereas the town of Amenia is seeking to fill 4 seasonal part-time town lifeguard positions, and whereas the position of part-time town lifeguard is considered to be a non-competitive position pursuant to the rules of the classified civil service of Dutchess County, and whereas the town board has searched and interviewed for the position, and whereas Anthony Magnoni, Abigail McEnroe, Nakai Riddle, and Kylie McCourt have expressed an interest in this position. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as to fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board of the town of Amenia hereby hires Anthony Magnoni, Abigail McEnroe, Nakai Riddle, and Kylie McCourt to the position of seasonal part-time lifeguard. Anthony McEnroe, Abigail McEnroe, Nakai Riddle, and Kylie McCourt shall be paid at the hourly rate of $25 and shall each work a maximum of 7 hours per week. The town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to file any and all documents necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution. I make that motion.
Can we amend the 7, it should be 7.5.
I'm sorry, the 7 hours?
Yeah, it should be 7.5. Is that
So,
okay?
so make a motion to amend the 7 to 7.5.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now go back and vote on the, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nicole, do we know that I saw there was a sign in the lobby of Town Hall about the days that this is going to be available? Do you know that off the top of your head? I just thought we should announce it when it starts.
Sunday, are we gonna do 1 or 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock to 4:15.
Okay,
Mondays, the first hour is senior swim.
okay,
And then Mondays and Wednesdays will be 4 to 6:15. The 4 to 5 hour window will be the senior. And then the second hour is open to community.
and so that's for that's
Yes.
any town resident.
And there is a fee too.
Thank you.
Single, do you want me to say them?
Go ahead.
Single session is $5 for a single session for an adult or, and, for one person. And then the family fee is $10 per session. And then if you want to do a monthly rate, for first person, it's $50 a month, and then for family, it's $70. And I think anybody that is going to be coming, I would suggest coming 15 minutes early in the first session, because there will be a waiver and some paperwork to fill out prior. This way we're not tying in on lifeguard time.
That's great. I mean, it's really exciting that this
It's
is
finally
going to happen.
happening,
It's great.
We've had a really great response to it too.
I don't imagine.
And I do have to commend the young people that came in and interviewed, and they were so polite and grown up and mature. It really was a pleasure to talk to them.
Wow. Okay, that's good to hear. All right, so any other matters from the board?
Oh, yes, there is one matter.
Okay.
Did you ever figure out what happened to that sign down there on 22? The welcome to Amenia sign?
Oh, yeah, I had heard that was missing.
I didn't hear anything,
Have
but
we picked it up and brought it to James? It sounds like we need to get bigger poles or something.
Okay.
well, Barbara got hit.
So it blew off, basically?
Oh, it blew off, okay.
Oh, good, thank you. Thank you for me up at that.
There's so many possibilities there, isn't there?
I know.
And, okay, anything else?
I had a question. I saw the displays on the way in here. They were provided by,
Oh, they were provided by the Tri-Town Coalition, the Millerton Group did that, and they had it at they had it in their town hall for a while. I do want to make note of that for people. It shows successful rural examples of affordable housing, and since a lot of people are very panicked about what that might look like, I think they should come see this, because it shows some really, really very, buildings that really would fit in, and a whole lot of different ways of providing the housing. So I'd recommend people, take a few minutes and come in and look at those. Anything else? Okay. Any board comments? Nothing, huh? Bupkis? Okay. Then, is there any other public comment?
I just want an update on the rehab ovens, why it's taking so long.
Do you want to take that one, Ian?
Sure.
There's been a number of different environmental reviews conducted, which have taken time. They go to the site, they do their investigation, they send a report back, we get the report. There's been phase 1, phase 2, and then follow-up with regards to that. So it's taken some time to get those reports. But I do expect that we will be doing another executive session at the end of this to discuss one of the final reports. So we are right there.
I mean, this is a coke oven. I'm not sure why it has to jump environmental hurdles. Can you explain that? I mean, this is an industrial site. It's not a woods or anything like that.
So
You're expecting to find remnants from burning,
So the results of that need to be discussed with the board first before we can go any further on it. That's where we're at.
It's taking a long time.
No doubt about that. No doubt.
It's fair to say that if there is contamination there and we take possession of this property, then the taxpayers have to pay for the cleanup. So it is quite important that it's done correctly.
These are all to protect the town for liability issues because Brad is correct. If you take ownership of the property, donate it or not, you take ownership of the property and or not, including any contamination. So it's vitally important that we proceed cautiously. And just do our due diligence, which is what's happening.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, Judy, sorry.
I just forgot to mention that we're having an Easter event on April 12th, on Saturday, from 11 to 1. We're saying rain or shine, but honestly, if it's a downpour, I think we'll have to come up with some last minute plans. But,
April 12th, right?
April 12th, Saturday,
Is there anything going on at the town hall on April 12th right now on the calendar?
Not that I can think of.
So last year, we had that happen, we did it in here. And
Yeah,
we did the older kids in the auditorium, and then we did the younger ones upstairs through the hallway, every time.
Yeah, so I'm assuming if people look out their window and see sheets of rain, but yes, thank
I
you for
can-
saying where will be instead.
I can post it and we can
Thanks.
change quick and come here.
Yeah, so hope to see everybody. There's gonna be a bunny here. So, well, not perhaps a real bunny, but there's going to be.
Wait, there isn't a real bunny, or there isn't a real
The
bunny?
Easter bunny.
No, Easter bunny.
Oh, the Easter bunny. I knew that. I mean, I could see why you would think I didn't, but I make a motion that we go into executive session, alas, again, and you're all dismissed. I can't do the
Purposes of?
For the purposes of,
I'll
I was really looking forward to it, Ian.
For legal advice with regards to charcoal kilns and to discuss information relating to current or future criminal investigations.
Wait, say that again, that was a little complicated.
The second part, to discuss information relating to current or future criminal investigations.
Right, because we didn't get to that in the first one.
Yes. So
Okay.
you're making that motion, who's seconding?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Nicole. All in favor?
Yes, it's-
Aye.